What's up everyone, welcome back to Just Finish Coding. This is part 3 of our Alien Shooter or Space Invaders game on Scratch 3, so let's get coding.
Just finished coding.
Now quick interjection here, if you've not watched part 1 and 2 of the series, please watch them before you come here because we're picking up from where we left off and you'll be very lost. I'll leave a card for you right here. Please watch the videos and then come right back. If you're still here, I'm going to assume that you've watched parts 1 and 2, in which case you should be able to move your spaceship and shoot out some bullets, but the problem is we can go through the edge and none of the zombies appear either, so there's still a lot of work to do. So I'm going to start off with that bouncing off the edge, and to do that things are very simple. You just have to go to this message which, go to the block which has movement written in it, and you have to say if on edge bounce. And this is going to ensure that you bounce off the edge, and just to prove to you what I mean, you can see that we can't go out of the edge anymore. So that's pretty fine, and now we can head over to the zombie sprite and start off with the start game code. So I'm going to say when I receive start game, then I'm going to repeat until create clones is equal to no. Alright, so repeat until, grab an equal to from operators and say create clones is equal to no. And I don't think I mentioned this. Create clones is going to be a boolean variable which just has yes or no as its two possible values. So after we're done with this, now we can just have some pretty simple code inside. I'm going to wait for 1 second, and before we wait for that 1 second, I'm going to create a clone of myself. So the zombies are going to keep creating clones and they're going to come at the starfighter, and this is pretty much all you will need within the start game. And now you can start with the main when I start as a clone script. So after you have this when I start as a clone script, the first thing you need to do is to just hide this. And the reason I'm saying hide is, although I think it's hidden by default, we will first go to the particular position that we need to go to and then show ourselves. And this reminds me to also hide this current level variable because we don't really need to be showing that. Alright, so now let's head back to our zombies, and here it's time to go to some particular position. So I'm going to go to, and within our y, I'm going to type in the top coordinate of y, which is going to be 180. But within our x, I'm going to have a pick random. So I'm going to say pick random from -240 to +240. So it can be anything within this entire x coordinate range. And after you have this, just like the starfighter, I'm going to set this code to be do not rotate. So I'm going to set rotation style to be don't rotate. And in case you don't have this don't rotate set up, you'll start to see some extremely weird movements with our zombie where it's turning around while coming to the starfighter, which is definitely not what we want. So after you set it to be don't rotate, we can actually show our zombies, but keep in mind that all the zombies at this point will be a single costume, and within our costumes we have 3 different costumes. So what I will do before we hide is to say switch costume to, and within this 3, instead of putting any one of the numbers, I'm going to say pick random from 1 to 3. So this switches the costume to be a random one. So it can either be this or this with equal probabilities of being each one. So after this, I'm going to start off with this repeat until main loop. So I'm going to say repeat until. I'll get into the condition a little bit later, but within your code, what you'll have to do is to say point towards. So point towards starfighter, and then we will be moving speed steps, or move speed steps, not change x or change y. We will be needing to change both. So we will be moving like diagonally basically. So move speed steps, and after this I will be having checking that sprite movement thingy. So I'm going to say if sprite movement is equal to no, and this is going to be equal to no in some cases, which I'll get into later. So if sprite movement is equal to no, then we will delete our clone. This is at the end of the game in a way. Delete this clone, and that is kind of what you'll need first. And now within this condition, what I'm going to say is repeat until create clones is equal to no, which is going to be when we stop creating clones as well. So repeat until create clones is equal to no. And after this, we will be having a simple condition checker if we're touching our starfighter or not, which is the entire point of this. So if touching starfighter, then what we will need to do is to broadcast a message first. So I'm going to broadcast explosion, and that's the message I'm going to call it. So explosion, click OK. And right before you broadcast explosion, we will be setting our create clones variable to be no. So this is going to basically end all our code and make sure we delete the sprites as well. Now keep in mind that in our bullet sprite, instead of directly deleting the zombies, which we anyway couldn't do right here, we broadcasted a message. So within our zombies, what we can do is when I receive destroy zombie, then what we will do is to check if we're colliding with the bullet. So if, oopsie, not add in a comment, I clicked that accidentally. So if we are touching the bullet, not the starfighter, but the bullet, then we will delete this clone. And changing the stuff, I think we did it in here where we changed the score by 1. So that is pretty much all we will need to do within our zombie sprite for now. Before I get into the explosion sprite though, what I'm going to do is to head over to the starfighter, scroll all the way below, and I'll have an if then condition, or not if then, but a message condition. So when I receive explosion, it's time to hide our starfighter, and the explosion is going to take its place basically. So all I'm going to do is to say when I receive explosion, hide, and we will also need to do that for the you win message, but we'll do that later. So now within choose a sprite, click on upload a sprite, and within all the files you have, you want to get into the explosion folder, and then click the one which says explosion 1. I'm going to call this explosion as the sprite name, and within costumes here you can upload all the other files. Now ideally you'd want to convert each of these images to be a vector image, but as of now I'm just going to leave them all at bitmap. Actually, let me convert them, never mind. So I'll be converting this to vector, and let me convert all of them and then I'll be right back. Alright, I just finished converting all of them to be vector images, and as you can see here we have 8 different costumes. So as of now I'm going to head over to the explosion sprite and say when I receive initialize, then I will be hiding myself, but when I receive the explosion message, at this point in time we have to go to the starfighter. So when I receive explosion, go to starfighter. So go to starfighter, where's that? Yep, go to starfighter, and then we will be switching costume to be the first costume. So switch costume to explosion 1, and after this we will be showing ourselves. So I'll add in a show right there, and then I'll be having this entire animation. So repeat 7 times, and each of the times I'm going to say next costume. So it's going to basically loop through those costumes, or just once though. So it's not technically loop through, it's just go through if you think about it that way. So next costume, and after that I'll add in a small time lag. So I'll say wait 0.1 seconds so that we have a nice little explosion. And after this it's going to be the last image of the explosion, so I'm just going to hide. And yep, that is pretty much all you will need right here. And I'm going to end this video right here. I know we didn't code that much in, we coded a little bit of our zombies as well as our explosion. But in the next video, I'll be finishing up with our entire code, including the end screens, as well as the clock that I've wanted to set up. If you've enjoyed this video, please make sure you leave a like, and also don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.